name's Harpreet Rayet. I'm a trainee regeneration officer at SRB6, and I also spend a couple of days a week at the North West Regeneration team as well. I've really enjoyed working on the SRB6 grant scheme and the programme as a whole. I think it's been really good. It's really opened my eyes to all the different parts of regeneration, because before I came into regeneration I always thought of it just in terms of business support, but now I've realised there's a lot more involved in terms of that. You're really serving your community. You're not just looking at the business side of it, you're looking at community, employment and also housing and lots of other issues as well.
With any grant work or any scheme that you undertake for a project like this, you've got to have teamwork, you've got to have a point of contact. And for us, we've been fortunate to have a member of the SRB6 team, Harpreet for instance, who's been able to be our go-between between achieving the grant, making the application and actually getting it from paper to, as you can see, what it already is now.
I hope that all graduates can build upon their experience through working with our team and SRB6 and through the whole experience of taking part in nurturing local talents. And I hope they all become regeneration champions within their chosen field.
We went to visit a business called Acme Whistles. They've been in the SRB6 area for over 130 years, and I believe they created the first whistle that was used in this country. We actually offered them a grant to improve their infrastructure, some of the steelworks as well, and also redo a floor where they're actually designing brand new whistles up there as well. That becoming a bit of a novelty in the future.
With their enthusiasm and I think their ability and willingness to learn, certainly the graduates that we've worked with on the programme have made an absolutely massive impact on that programme in terms of being able to resource the huge volume of demand, to be able to respond to inquiries. I think at the start it was in a very sort of hesitant way, but I think very quickly they became instinctively adept at the work, and that has made an enormous difference now. And I think to the extent where the level of supervision that's required on grant projects is now minimal, which to me is enormous progress, fantastic resource to have.
My name is Roxana Collins. I'm a trainee regeneration officer with SRB6. Well, I came straight from university to this sort of placement, so I wasn't aware fully of the structuring and the kind of different sort of processes that go on to put projects in place. I've always been interested in regeneration because, well, kind of physical regeneration, because it's always around you. Also, when I was at university, I was quite interested in art and regeneration and how they could both kind of work together. So I did a bit of work with some local communities in Bracknell, looking at how they were going to redevelop their town centre. It was just a consultation process, trying to get people involved in inputting ideas. So that was my kind of experience of regeneration before. So I wasn't overly aware of what can be done with communities and how many community voluntary organisations, their input into regeneration.
I think they're all quite different. Some of them, it's probably their first job or their first full-time substantial job, so some of them were quite shy, maybe lacked in confidence. Others, because they had worked in other jobs and a couple of them had worked in the private sector, perhaps their levels of confidence were far higher. I think one of the things that probably impressed us most was the fact that they were all very keen to work in regeneration, and they'd obviously made a very clear decision that's what they wanted to come and learn and hopefully get jobs, permanent posts in the long run in terms of regeneration. I
worked with Kevin Duffy from Handsworth Library, the district librarian, and he was interested in getting involved to work a project up with getting designer software to do graphic design and video and photography with Vanley Burke, who's quite a well-known photographer in Handsworth and nationally. There's also web authoring, so together we worked on an urban digital project which recently started in January, and it's been quite successful, I've heard, so that's good.
There's been great assistance with developing the funding bit, giving us additional ideas that we perhaps hadn't thought of, putting us into contact with other organisations that we might not have worked with recently or at all. So she's been good in helping and assisting and making it work, really.
I think there's a couple of things. I think one is in terms of this as a trainee regeneration programme, and I think we've learned quite a lot of important lessons from this particular project, which will hopefully inform other programmes or other initiatives or other public sector bodies who are looking to try and create pathways for people to work in regeneration. So there have been some really important lessons from us, and maybe one of the key things has been that the real importance of learning on the job. And I think that's what we've been able to provide the trainees with, that real vital experience of whether it's been working with communities in the area or business sector within the area, as well as working with the funders and have to deal with a lot of the bureaucracy.
My name is Ridwan Abdul Karim. Basically, I'm here working SRB6 as a graduate trainee. It's a variety of projects because obviously as a graduate I want you to get a feel of this and a feel of that, but I do land and property, I work with employment and education. I find the graduate scheme quite interesting, quite rewarding because basically you're not dealing with one aspect of your work, they're giving you a variety of jobs to do, so then you feel like, okay, I want to move more into this. So at first you might say, basically I want to work with like land and property, and then you get a taste for that. Maybe you don't like it, so you're doing about working in 5 different areas, so then you might see something more interesting that's more suited to you. So I think the graduate scheme with that is quite helpful and useful for determining which path or which career that you want to basically head into.
I think Ridwan's got quite a varied background. He's had quite a few different jobs before he started here, including being a teacher and a bouncer. So he's got quite a lot of skills in talking to different people and bringing people together. So I think that there is key sort of strengths that he brings to his role in the team.
Mr. Kula, he extended his grocery shop towards the back so he can get more storage space, and also his shop front. He's had a new shop front done, and he's put a new wall to the side because the old wall was deteriorating.
Well, I think it's been great. Mr. Woodwine and is a gentleman, and he helped me along a great deal actually. And things were moving slowly before he came in the scene, and now we push things and we'll be able to hopefully get everything finished in time.
One of the key drivers for the Nurturing Local Talent project was it came out of a government report called the Egan Report, which was highlighting the need to identify what the skills for regeneration, to work in regeneration, because unlike other disciplines such as planners and so on, there's not a recognised academic qualification or college course. And whilst we have a whole load of regeneration initiatives, we don't particularly have an agreement on what the competencies or the skills are required to work in regeneration. So through the Egan report, there's been a number of different initiatives to try and look at what's appropriate pathways to support people into regeneration. So the Nurturing Local Talent project, to a certain extent, has grown out of that because it's recognising on-the-job experience and experience of actually doing the job is really crucial to gaining an understanding of regeneration as a whole.
We actually do have a wealth of resources and skills in our own areas, in a lot of areas which are actually suffering a range of multiple deprivation. But also I think is about actually appreciating that the young talent is very motivated, has a lot of energy, that actually can deliver some quite difficult regeneration projects for us.
I think that regeneration is not just about buildings and infrastructure. It's to do with changing people and people's attitudes and getting people to work together in a cohesive manner. So like in the area that we work in, obviously there's a lot of problems and a lot of diversity and a lot of community problems, but I think with us working in SRB6 that we've been able to change a lot of people's views and showing them a different way of working together and coming together as a community. So hoping that they can, better themselves.
The graduates that we anticipated to come in would take a lot of nurturing and a lot of mentoring have actually far exceeded our expectations by becoming project officers very early on in the process, and actually become project champions in some cases. They've developed new ideas, they've delivered on some quite difficult projects, and they've risen to the challenges of really delivering some quite difficult and complex regeneration projects.
We are proud of the work they have done, and we wish all of them well. We are sure they are going to make a proper and very talented regeneration officers in the future.